Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to episode number 974 of NoDQ A video, one away from 975 as the road to 1,000 episodes continues. Got your questions from twitter.com/AaronRift using the hashtag RoadToNoDQ1000. First one today comes from Jishnu. What was the point of that Miz TV? He is talking about the Miz TV segment from last night's Raw involving LeVar Ball and his kids. The reason was publicity. WWE will take advantage of any opportunity to have a celebrity on their show that might generate some headlines. Now, unfortunately for WWE, this did not result in positive headlines. Partly because LeVar Ball is wacky and that segment was a train wreck, but also one of the sons, the younger son, used a racial slur, and people have been asking me about that. Should WWE be apologizing for that? There's this debate that because he's black or half black or whatever, that he's allowed to say the word. It's still inappropriate, and WWE apologized for it. Some people are saying, well, WWE's being hypocritical because Vince said it one time to John Cena. WWE's a PG company now. It's a different era, and WWE needed to apologize for it. It was just a very inappropriate comment, but that's the risk of live TV. When you give somebody who's from the outside a live mic, that's the chance you take. Although I'm sure people in WWE were not freaking out too much because they can say that it was out of their control, that somebody went into business for themselves, somebody who's not part of the company. WWE, in a way, might be happy because it did generate some buzz and some people talking about WWE. So you have to look at it from different perspectives. Yes, it does give the company some negative publicity, but as Vince might say, or anybody else might say, any publicity is good publicity. This one comes from Jimmer. Please answer in video. Probably got to be at least the 50th person to ask, but do you see Cass and Enzo reuniting? Well, we did see that segment on Raw, which was a brief reconciliation between Enzo and Cass. I thought it was another great segment on Raw. I was expecting that Cass turn. I was expecting him to attack Enzo after they shook hands and hugged. Part of me was hoping that Enzo and Cass would not break up right away. You know, I was thinking that maybe WWE could have dragged this thing out a little bit longer and maybe done this type of storyline where they have this broken relationship, but they keep trying to work things out and not accept reality. And you have Big Cass over and over again screwing over Enzo and then apologizing for it, and you just have that continue to evolve and get more and more ugly. I think that WWE missed an opportunity here to really explore the possibilities with this relationship between these guys and do something different rather than the typical approach by having Cass act like he's made up with Enzo and then attack him afterwards. I still thought it was a great segment though. But I do think maybe WWE could have done more with this and could have gone deeper with this relationship. But, you know, according to reports, WWE wants to get Cass on his own and move away from Enzo and Cass, and this feud between them is not expected to be a long one, which I think is unfortunate. I think you could have had a great story here with these two guys trying to keep the team together, but it just keeps getting worse and worse, and neither of them are really accepting reality. This one comes from Haley Shaw. I am a deadly sinner. There was actually a NoDQ CAW event, for those of you that remember, called Deadly Sin back in 2007, I believe. Now that Big Cass has turned heel, can you see him going over to SmackDown and helping Carmella retain her Money in the Bank briefcase? That I am not expecting. I think that Ellsworth will somehow try to get involved. Maybe he'll wear a mask or something. I do not see Big Cass going to SmackDown, at least right away, but I do think there's a possibility that we could see Big Cass maybe traded to SmackDown Live so him and Carmella in real life can be on the same brand, and also maybe even pair them up in real life and get rid of Ellsworth. I can see that happening down the line. I do not see it happening immediately. Obviously, WWE has to do Big Cass and Enzo and get that match out of the way, at least do one match between those guys. So I think that Cass will remain on Raw for now, but in a couple months, you could do some sort of trade storyline and get Cass over to SmackDown, and that way you have him on a separate brand from Enzo. I could see that as a possibility sometime in the next couple of months. This one comes from JJA Sports Studio. WWE has uploaded a lot of videos of Goldberg lately on YouTube. Can this be a hint he is returning soon? Not necessarily. I think it could just be WWE testing the waters and seeing what kind of interest there is in Goldberg at this point. If people are still interested in possibly seeing another Goldberg match, maybe trying to gauge the audience and see what they think about Goldberg at this stage of the game. I'm not sure if bringing back Goldberg is really necessary at this point. Maybe it would boost business a little bit, but part of the idea in bringing back Goldberg last year was to promote the video game, and then it did generate some buzz and move the numbers a little bit, so WWE decided to bring back Goldberg for one last run, have him do a couple matches, but he barely did anything. And I think for Goldberg, it would really take a lot for him to come back at this point. He came back so his son could watch him perform. That was part of the motivation in him coming back. That's been done now. Goldberg had his WrestleMania moment. How do you really top that for Goldberg? There's really not much else you can do other than maybe Goldberg versus Roman Reigns. But again, is it really necessary? Goldberg, he's even said it himself that he really has to dedicate himself in the gym and just make a lot of sacrifices to look like the Goldberg that people knew and loved from WCW. I'm not sure it's going to happen. I think it would really take a lot for Goldberg to come back for one more match. Got this one here from Banks Club 27. I'm starting to really like Nia Jax. Can you see her as women's champion one day? I think anything's possible, especially in an era where it seems like everybody gets a turn as world champion. Example, Jinder Mahal. I think Nia Jax looked very strong on Raw, even though she did lose in the end to Sasha Banks. But then again, I think she tapped out to Sasha back at Survivor Series, so it's not like she's been protected to a large degree in WWE. She did look very strong. She beat Bayley. She beat the other women, I think 4 women up until Sasha Banks at the end. I could see her being women's champion at some point. She certainly is one of the most credible women. I think if you had Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss in a real fight, I think most people would go Nia Jax because of her size. She does have that going for her, that she looks the part as somebody you would not want to get in a fight with. So I think it'll happen at some point. I think we will see Nia Jax as women's champion. It's just a matter of when WWE decides to pull the trigger with her. And clearly they're not doing that right now. They're going with Sasha Banks, and who knows what direction WWE is going in for SummerSlam. But I do think we will see Nia win the title at some point, if I had to make a bet on it. And I got this one here from Daniel regarding the match on Raw with the women. I'm surprised Sasha won. Do you think that they would push her and sink Bayley so Bayley can rise and get over on Sasha like on NXT? I could see WWE doing that, but I think WWE just dropped the ball with this Sasha Banks and Bayley storyline. I think Sasha Banks and Bayley should have been the SummerSlam main event, and it might still be, but I think that it should have been done with Bayley winning the title and Sasha becoming jealous and turning heel as a result, and then setting up the match for SummerSlam. Now you have Sasha, who could end up winning the title as a babyface, and Bayley, you know, she's in a really bad spot right now. She's been booked poorly. She was the first person out in that gauntlet match on Raw. Not sure what's going on with Bayley and what they're going to do with her. There's a possibility that Bayley could turn heel, but to me, a heel Bayley and babyface Sasha Banks just seems ass backwards. I think Sasha should turn heel. I think she's definitely better as a heel, but I think WWE is going at it the wrong way, and if she does turn heel, I'm not sure how effective it'll be. I think it'll be better than her being a face, at least. I think just a heel turn, period, would work for her, but I think it could have been done better. This one comes from Calvin Bowman. Why is Corey Graves acting so weird? Why won't he answer Michael Cole and Booker T questions? Could he be turning heel? WWE wants you to wonder what's going on with Corey Graves. Now, what is actually happening? I have no idea. I mean, for all we know, WWE is just going week by week with the storyline. They're making it up as they go along. I'm not sure the creative team even knows where this is going. I think Corey Graves maybe being a heel manager is something that people have speculated about, and I could see that happening. I would like for there to be some sort of interesting development in the storyline with Corey Graves, and it is going to lead to something major. But at this point, I would not be shocked if in a couple of weeks this just fizzles out and we really get no satisfying payoff to this storyline, and it just fades away and there's nothing to it. Would not shock me at all. I'm hoping we get something out of this, but I really don't know at this point. This one comes from Mr. Yuck. Is there anything about Elias Samson that sticks out to you? His ring brutality is refreshing and he is not afraid. I like the whole singing gimmick. I like what he's doing when he comes out there and starts singing, and that is his way of getting heat before a match. You know, similar to Mr. Kennedy's ring entrance when he would have the mic come down from the ceiling and introduce himself. You know, it's a similar type of intro. I like that. It's definitely something that Elias Samson has going for him. I like the singing promos. I like, you know, speaking of the singing promos, I like what WWE was doing with Aiden English, although they're not really giving him much of an opportunity to shine. But stuff like that I think is a little bit outside the box, and I'm up for anything different. So Elias Samson coming out there with the guitar. I mean, yeah, The Rock did it years ago with the Rock concert, but I like what Elias Samson's doing so far, and I think he has some potential, at least with this singing character. In the ring, I think he's all right. I mean, he hasn't really done anything to stand out from the rest of the pack other than the guitar and the singing gimmick at this point. But who knows? Maybe he'll continue to develop and become a major factor in WWE. You never know. This one comes from I See Dead People. I like that name. Is a Shield reunion WWE's last hope to get Roman Reigns over as a widely liked babyface? I feel like it wouldn't. I agree. I think a Shield reunion would result in a brief pop for Roman Reigns, but I think WWE would pop for the group more than Roman Reigns as an individual, and I think when the reunion is over, fans will just go right back to how they've been reacting to Roman Reigns. I do think we will see a Shield reunion. I mean, it seems like an obvious thing to take advantage of with all three former members on the same brand as babyfaces. You would think WWE would take advantage of that and use that to try and get the fans to like Roman. So I think it will happen at some point, but I do not see it long term helping Roman get more over with the fans. I think the damage has been done. You know, I said this months ago. If Reigns beats Undertaker at WrestleMania, there's no turning back. You're going to have fans resenting Roman Reigns probably for the rest of his career because of the WrestleMania outcome. And if Reigns goes down in history as the guy that retired The Undertaker, fans are always going to resent him for that. So I don't know if there's anything that can save Roman Reigns from being booed by a large portion of the audience. This one comes from Eric. Hey Aaron, seeing as John Cena has creative control on what he does and who he works a program with, can the same be said for Randy Orton? John Cena doesn't have nearly as much creative control as you might think. Yes, he is John Cena, and I think if he made a fuss about something, he would have more influence than just about anybody else on the WWE roster. But it's not like the Hulk Hogan era where Cena can refuse to job to people. Now, John Cena is a trooper. He's a company man. He will do whatever is asked of him. Randy Orton, same thing. I think if Randy Orton put up a fuss, maybe people would listen a little bit. Maybe Orton would have a little bit of influence. But again, it's not like the Hogan era, and even somebody like John Cena only has so much creative control over their character. And, you know, Randy Orton, I think there's some respect for these guys, and if they did complain about something, they would be heard. But at the same time, I think WWE's attitude is just about anybody is replaceable. Even somebody like a John Cena or a Randy Orton, if push comes to shove, the company will move on without them. You know, just like Bret Hart said, the machine will roll on. I think CM Punk said the same thing. The company will move on with or without these guys, and there's no one person bigger than the WWE. Vince said that. Vince McMahon himself said that during the Attitude Era, that there's no one man bigger than the WWE, and that's how it is. You know, WWE is viewed as a brand, and that's what's the draw at this point. It's not like the Hogan era where Hogan was the draw, and if you lose Hogan, you're in big trouble. You know, WWE can benefit from John Cena and Randy Orton, but it's not going to make or break the company. This one comes from Jamie Clark. Considering Braun Strowman is mega over, do you see a turn to become a babyface destruction machine like Goldberg? It feels like Strowman is already that character. You know, on Raw we had Roman Reigns coming out and the fans immediately chanting, "We want Strowman," and you know, I feel like Strowman's already that guy. He comes out and the people want to see him destroy somebody. I definitely feel there's that potential for Strowman to be the new Goldberg. Just have him come out there and beat people up. I mean, that's what he's been doing, and squashing people and just being a machine, you know, coming out there and just doing 2-minute squash matches. You know, it was fun when Strowman was doing that, and that's what got him over initially, just having him come out there and, you know, just keeping it simple, doing what worked for Goldberg and doing it with Strowman. It was working for Ryback for a while, you know, Ryback coming out there and doing the quick 2-minute squash matches. It does work, you know, it does work when you build up a guy as a monster and you have him come out there and just destroy people and be an instrument of destruction. So yeah, I could see it working, and I think it's already been working with Strowman. Got this one here from The Dark One. Excluding championships, who has the better career in WWE between Batista and Randy Orton in your opinion? I would say when you look at longevity, when you look at in-ring skills and overall long-term success in WWE, I would go Randy Orton. If we're just looking at short-term success, I think you would go with Batista. I think in 2005, Batista was red hot. That Hell in a Cell match with Triple H, Batista was a pretty big deal in 2005, and I think he was one of the few guys that was really moving numbers for WWE. You could actually consider Batista to be somewhat of a draw. Randy Orton, you know, I think he's been consistent in terms of being a big star in WWE, but again, it's not like Randy Orton makes or breaks the company. If he's gone, everything's gonna move along, and really the same can be said about Batista, but I think back in 2005, Batista was making a little bit of a difference with the numbers for Raw and the pay-per-views back when you still had to sell people on $50 pay-per-views. You know, Batista was able to do that. But I would say long-term, Randy Orton, I think, will go down as a bigger star in WWE. Now, outside of WWE, obviously Batista's making a big name for himself in Hollywood. That'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ Video. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it. Facebook, Twitter, anybody you know who watches wrestling, have them check out this video. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the latest news and rumors. We got Slammiversary this weekend. We got Great Balls of Fire with the hashtag WWE Balls coming up pretty soon. NoDQ.com will have all the latest regarding that pay-per-view. And I will see you guys next time.